Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be going over a variation of a bump and run shot. Now before we were using a higher lofted club like the 9-iron to get the ball up in the air and let it roll to the green. But there are going to be some situations where you might have a lot longer of a shot to the flag and you have a lot of green to work with, and so a higher lofted club is going to be a little bit more difficult because you're going to have to guess how far to get it there, and you might have to fly it a little bit longer. And as a general rule with golf, around the greens, the longer you can keep the ball on the ground, the more control you're going to have, because if you hit it up in the air and you're going to try to guess how far you need to hit it, there's a chance of having a bad bounce off of the fly, or you might misjudge how far you need to hit it because of how sensitive a couple yards can be on the side of the green. So what you're going to need is a lower lofted club to be able to let the ball roll and release a lot longer. So for example, if you are about one club length off the green, you want the ball to roll as long as you possibly can, and you don't need a whole lot of loft to get the ball over the short amount of grass that you have. So you might want to start with, let's just say, a 6-iron because it has a relatively low loft. And then maybe 2 club lengths away, because you have a little bit more grass to work with, you might want to use a 7-iron, and then so on, with 3 club lengths being maybe an 8-iron, 4 club lengths being a 9-iron, or whatever you're more comfortable with. Just so long as you're able to keep the ball, get the ball up and over the grass that's right in front of you and let it land and roll onto the green. So I'm about 2 club lengths away, so I'm going to be using a 7-iron, and as you can see, I have a decent ways to go towards the flag. So I need to be able to get it up in the air just enough to be able to land it onto the green, but also let it release long enough. And so now in practice, this is going to be all about you feeling as comfortable as you can with the distance. And so it's going to be up to you to determine what your distances are for your club lengths for each of your clubs when you're this far off of the green. So for me, I've got a marker a couple yards onto the green, and that's going to be my point that I'm going to envision that I need to hit the ball to get onto the green. So when you're practicing, feel free to put something down as a marker, or just on the edge of the grass, or just on the edge of the green for your own visualization. But when you're on the course playing, that's not legal, so make sure that you have your muscle memory down to know how far you actually need to be. So the proper stroke to this, as we were doing before, we were doing a little bit of a forward press to take off some of the loft with that 9-iron, but because we're already using a lower lofted club, you want to keep the club about as center as you possibly can. And this is actually going to be looking almost more like a putting stroke here, because you don't want to take off loft and you don't want to create more loft either. You want to use the natural loft that, for example, my 7-iron naturally has. So you're going to want to be standing a little bit closer to the ball, have your head almost directly over it like a putting stroke, and you're going to be using mostly your shoulders to bring the club back and forth like a pendulum. And so you maybe want to take it back, about a little bit as high as your ankles here. You take it back, use your shoulders, and sweep the ball right off of the grass here. You don't want to chunk it, you don't want to completely whiff it either. It's going to be a nice, gentle, smooth swing, just like that. And so in practice, in profile here, head's going to be directly over the ball. Take it back and just brush the grass. So the ball's going to just barely jump over this amount of grass, and it's going to land right at that point, and it's going to roll all the way up to the flag. And so now, as you saw, that ball just rolled all the way up and it followed the curvature of the grass, and you should be able to, whenever you're practicing, make sure you go back and read the green to see how far you need. So I hope this answers any other questions and gives you another shot in your bag to be able to use when you're practicing. So if you have any other questions, leave them in the comment section below, and please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.